License and registration, both of you. ID's out now.
Officer, what's the reason for the stop?
I'll tell you the reason when I'm ready. ID's now.
Can you explain what traffic violation occurred?
Who asked you? Driver, tell your buddy to keep his mouth shut.
Lieutenant Marcus Webb sits at his desk at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday night in the Delaware State Police Internal Affairs Office, watching body cam footage for the 6th time, and he's seeing something that makes him want to put his fist through the monitor. The footage shows Officer Ryan Myers pulling over a black motorist in Riverside Estates 3 weeks ago. Nice neighborhood, expensive houses, the kind of place where the median home value is $680,000, and people call the cops if your lawn service shows up in a truck that looks too old. Myers approaches the window. License and registration. The driver asks why he was pulled over. Myers says, "I'll tell you when I'm ready." The driver asks again. Myers says, "You're in a neighborhood where people pay attention to things that don't belong." Marcus pauses the video, rewinds it, plays that line again. Things that don't belong. He's heard Myers say variations of that phrase in 4 different stops over the past month. Never quite, crossing the line into something you could write up in a formal complaint. Always just vague enough to have deniability. But the pattern is there if you're looking for it. Marcus has been looking for 3 months. He pulls up the stop data on his other monitor. Officer Ryan Myers, badge 2847, 6 years on the force. In the past 12 months, Myers has made 423 traffic stops. Marcus filters by race. 347 stops of black motorists. That's 82% in a city that's 31% black. He runs the search rates. Myers searched black motorists 44% of the time. White motorists, 9%. Hit rate for finding contraband, 12% for black drivers, 31% for white drivers. The numbers are screaming. Myers is stopping black people at rates that defy statistical probability, searching them at 5 times the rate and finding evidence far less often. Which means he's not actually catching criminals. He's harassing innocent people based on their skin color. Marcus has been building this case for 3 months. He's reviewed 87 stop reports from Myers and 2 other officers in the same district. He's found patterns. He's documented the vague language they use to justify stops that shouldn't happen. Suspicious behavior. Didn't look right. High crime area, used to describe neighborhoods that have almost no crime. But he doesn't have enough yet. The union will fight this. They'll argue that the officers were using their judgment, that high stop numbers just mean they're working hard, that the searches were all consensual. Marcus needs something undeniable. He needs to catch one of them doing it in a way that leaves no room for interpretation. He's still looking at the data when his phone buzzes. Text message from James Holloway, his friend from college. "Car's in the shop until Monday. Can you give me a ride home from dinner Saturday? I'll buy." Marcus texts back, "Yeah, no problem. Where?" James sends an address for a restaurant downtown. Marcus confirms and goes back to his spreadsheets. He doesn't know it yet, but that text message just gave him exactly what he's been looking for. Saturday night. Marcus picks up James at the restaurant at 8:35 p.m. They've been friends since undergrad at Delaware State. James works in software engineering now, makes good money, bought a house in Riverside Estates 2 years ago. He's engaged, wedding next spring, normal, successful life except for one thing that's not normal at all. James has been pulled over 4 times in 2 years for driving in his own neighborhood. Same pattern every time. Officer can't explain what law was broken. Questions about where he's going. Whether the car is his, can they search it? James never filed complaints because what's the point? It's your word against theirs and nobody ever believes you. They're talking about James's wedding plans, arguing about whether a DJ or a band is better. When Marcus sees the lights come on behind them, James is driving his gray Honda Civic. They're 2 blocks from his house. They weren't speeding. They used signals. They weren't doing anything. James looks in the rearview mirror. Are you serious right now? Marcus looks back and feels something click in his head. He recognizes that patrol car, District 4, Myers' district. Don't worry about it, just pull over, let me handle this. James pulls into a well-lit area. There's a house with a Ring doorbell visible on the porch. Marcus makes note of that. He pulls out his phone and starts a voice recording, keeping the phone below the window line. If the body cam footage mysteriously disappears later, he'll have his own copy. The officer approaches. Marcus watches him in the side mirror. White guy, early 30s, moving with that particular swagger some cops develop when they think they're completely in control of a situation. The officer gets to the window. Marcus already knows who it is before he sees the face. Officer Ryan Myers, badge 2847, the same. Officer whose stop data Marcus has been analyzing for 3 months. The same officer who's said things that don't belong 4 times in recent stops. And he's about to say it to an internal affairs lieutenant who's been building a case on him. Though Myers doesn't know that yet. Myers raps on the window with his flashlight. James rolls it down. Good evening, officer. The flashlight beam goes straight into James's face, then swings to Marcus. License and registration. Both of you, IDs out now. James keeps his voice respectful. Officer, can you tell me the reason for the stop? I'll tell you the reason when I'm ready. IDs. Now. Marcus speaks for the first time, voice calm and conversational. Can you explain what traffic violation occurred? Myers' attention swings to him, and you can hear the irritation. Who asked you? Driver, tell your buddy to keep his mouth shut unless he wants to make this worse. Marcus is recording every word on his phone. He's also watching the body cam on Myers' chest, making sure the little light is on. It is. This is being documented from multiple angles. James tries again. Officer, we weren't speeding. We used our signals. I'm just trying to understand what we did wrong. And there it is. The line Marcus has been waiting to hear someone say directly to him, instead of on a recording. You're in a neighborhood where people notice when things don't look right. Marcus leans forward slightly. Before you do that, I have a question. How many stops have you made in this neighborhood in the past month? Myers stares at him. That's none of your business. Last warning. IDs on the dashboard, or you're both getting out. Marcus reaches for his wallet slowly, but he doesn't pull out his driver's license. He pulls out his Delaware State Police Internal Affairs credentials, badge and ID card. He hands them through the window to Myers. Here's my ID. Look at it carefully, take your time, because in about 30 seconds, you're going to realize you just made a career-ending mistake. Myers takes the credentials, shines his flashlight on them. Delaware State Police, Internal Affairs Division, Lieutenant Marcus Webb. His face goes through changes. Confusion, recognition, pure horror. Your internal affairs, Lieutenant Marcus Webb, and every word you just said is being recorded. On your body cam, on my phone, and on that doorbell camera right there. Marcus points to the Ring doorbell 15 feet away. So I'll ask you again, Officer Myers. What was the reason for this stop? Myers' mouth opens, closes. No words come out. Marcus continues, voice still perfectly calm. You pulled over a vehicle obeying all traffic laws. You refused to explain the reason for the stop. You made statements suggesting we look out of place in this neighborhood. You threatened to search without probable cause. You want to try again? What was the reason for this stop? I thought the car looked... Myers' voice is shaky. Now, Marcus doesn't help him. Just waits. What traffic law did we violate? Specifically. Myers can't answer because there is no answer. That's what I thought. What's your name and badge number? Officer Ryan Myers. Badge 2847. Marcus nods. He already knew, but he wanted it on recording. Officer Myers, I'm going to need you to step back from this vehicle. We're leaving now. And Monday morning, you're going to be called into a meeting with your supervisor and a union representative. I suggest you spend the time between now and then thinking about whether you want to try to explain this stop or whether you want to start looking at other career options. Myers steps back. James drives the 2 blocks to his house without saying a word. They get inside. Close the door. Then James says, "What just happened?" Marcus is already pulling up the phone recording, making sure it captured everything. "I've been investigating Myers for 3 months, building a case on his stop patterns, and he just handed me exactly what I needed." James sits down heavily. "This has happened to me 4 times. 4 times in 2 years, and I never thought anyone would believe me. I believe you. And now I can prove it. Have you ever been right about something for so long that when you finally get proof, you don't even feel vindicated, you just feel tired? Drop a comment if you know that feeling. What Marcus does next is what separates mediocre investigations from cases that change departments. He doesn't just write up the stop and call it a day. He goes back to his office Sunday morning and pulls every single stop Myers has made in the past 3 years, all 1,247 of them. He creates a spreadsheet. Date, time, location, race of driver, reason for stop, whether a search occurred, whether anything was found. Then he does the same thing for the other 2 officers whose patterns looked similar to Myers. 600 stops between them. He works for 14 hours straight, stopping only to get coffee and use the bathroom. By Sunday night, he has a picture that's even worse than he thought. The 3 officers have been working together, coordinating their stops. Not officially. But when Marcus pulls their radio traffic and cross-references it with their personal phones, he finds something. Text messages. Not on department phones, thank God for small favors, but one of them made a mistake. Officer Craig Daniels, one of Myers' colleagues, sent a text meant for his personal phone to the department system instead. The text read, "Got another one. Nice car, wrong neighborhood. He's clean, but I'll run him through the system anyway." They never complain. Marcus reads that text 3 times. Then he calls his captain at home. Captain Sarah Rodriguez has been in internal affairs for 12 years. She's seen everything. But when Marcus reads her the text, she goes quiet for a long moment. That's not one bad cop. That's a pattern. That's what I'm saying. It's not just Myers. It's at least 3 of them, maybe more. And they've been doing it for years. How solid is the case? I've got stop data showing racial disparities that are statistically impossible to explain by legitimate law enforcement. I've got body cam footage showing the same scripted language in dozens of stops. I've got that text message. And now I've got Myers on camera pulling me over and saying we look out of place in a neighborhood. Rodriguez is quiet again. Then, "You were in the car?" "Yeah, riding with a friend. Myers pulled us over for nothing. Ran his usual script and I let him dig himself in before I identified myself." Jesus, Marcus. That's not how we usually do investigations. I know, but it's clean, it's documented, and it's undeniable. Rodriguez thinks for a moment. "All right, come in Monday morning, bring everything. We're taking this to the chief." Monday morning, 8 a.m. Marcus walks into Chief David Morrison's office with a folder containing 6 months of analysis, the stop data, the body cam clips, the text message, and the recording from Saturday night. He lays it all out. Morrison is a 28-year veteran who worked his way up from patrol to chief. He's seen enough bad cops to know what he's looking at. He watches the body cam footage from Marcus's stop, watches Myers say things that don't look right, watches the moment Marcus hands over his IA credentials, and Myers realizes his career just ended. Morrison turns off the monitor. "How many officers are we talking about?" 3 for sure. Myers, Daniels, and Officer Jennifer Wu. Possibly a 4th. And their sergeant knew or should have known because he signs off on their activity reports every month. Recommendations? Terminate Myers and Daniels immediately. Wu's numbers are borderline. Might be able to salvage her with retraining. Demote the sergeant. And we need to audit the whole district to see if this goes deeper. Morrison nods slowly. Do it. Build the termination. Packages. Make them airtight. The union is going to fight this hard. I know. That's why I spent yesterday making sure everything is documented 6 ways. The termination process takes 4 weeks. Marcus builds the cases methodically. For Myers, he compiles 43 stops that show the pattern. Black motorists in nice neighborhoods, vague reasons for stops, searches based on nothing. The hit rate of 12%, proving Myers wasn't actually finding criminals. The text messages, the body cam footage, and the recording from Saturday night where Myers pulled over an internal affairs lieutenant and threatened to search the vehicle for no reason. The termination letter is delivered on a Tuesday morning. Myers is called into his supervisor's office. He walks in thinking it's about the Saturday night stop, thinking maybe he'll get a written reprimand. He walks out unemployed. The letter cites racially discriminatory traffic stops, failure to articulate reasonable suspicion, threatening, behavior, and conduct unbecoming. Effective immediately. Myers appeals through his union. The appeal hearing is scheduled for 3 weeks later. That hearing is where Marcus has been pointing all his work for 3 months. That's where this case gets won or lost. The hearing is held in a conference room at State Police Headquarters. 3 people on the review board. Myers with his union attorney. Marcus with the chief and the department's legal counsel. The room is small and windowless, and the air conditioning doesn't work well. It's going to be a long afternoon. Myers' union attorney is a guy named Ron Peterson, who's been defending cops for 20 years. He's good at his job. He opens by arguing that Myers was a dedicated officer with 6 years of service, no prior disciplinary actions,